Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. This is Connie. I've had some requests to share how I use digital paper in my scrapbooking, so I'm going to go ahead and share that with you today. Hopefully everything works. I've been having some issues with recording my computer, so I'm hoping everything goes smoothly now. The two programs I use are Paint 3D and Microsoft Word. Those are the programs that I've learned to work with this. It seems to work very well for me. So any programs you want to use is fine, but I'm just going to show you what I do. I have Paint 3D open. I have extracted the paper I'm going to show you how to use. So I'm just going to Menu and Insert, and it should bring up the file eventually where my paper is saved. I'm just going to work with this gingham paper. It will come in at 12-inch square, which is 3,600 pixels wide by 3,600 pixels high. And I work with pixels to size my paper instead of working just by dragging it here however I want. I don't do well with that. So let's see, I'm going to get back to where it was here. Oops. And I went too far. And I don't think there's a redo. So let me go and insert that again. Sorry. And how I calculate it, I'm going to do a 3-inch high border by a 12-inch wide for a scrapbook layout, because that's mostly what I use my paper for. So once this comes in, we'll come over here. Apologize for that. I didn't mean to. That's what I get for playing around. Okay, so I'm going to go over to crop. And I'm to figure out how many pixels it is. I want it 3 inches high. So I take 3, divide by 12, because there's 12 inches total, and I get 0.25. Then I take the 0.25 times 3,600, which this should be just 3,600, and you get 900. So I change just the height to 900. Click on Done. Okay, there's your piece that you're going to be working with. I'm going to save it. Go back up to Menu up there and click Save As. Save it as an image. And I'll just save it red for now. It's already got one in there. I was just kind of playing around with things so that I know which one was which. Okay. Then I come over to my Windows, my word processing. Okay. And I'm going to come up to Layout first of all. And I want to go to Size, Legal, Orientation. I want it to be Landscape. It'll come in properly, and I'll show you what happens if you don't have it that way first. Margins I put as narrow. I'm going to come over to Insert, find my paper that I resized. It was the red piece. Okay, it did bring it in this time, right? So you can see up here, it's 3.25 inches high by 13 inches wide. I'm going to leave it at that. As I said, when I print it out, sometimes it's a little bit smaller than that, so that's a good margin of error. Okay, and then I'll show you. I come up to File, and I'll show you how I set it up to print. And I just have an 8.5 by 11 printer, nothing special, but I do make a few changes on this. So want to get into printer properties. I'm not going to print this, my printer's not on, but just wanted to show you how I did this. Okay, so I always change it to, if I'm just using my plain, the Nina vellum Bristol paper, I just put it on other matte inkjet papers, if you have anything like that, and then I change my quality to best. If you're using a printer, or excuse me, a photo paper, you'd have to check which one you wanted for that, for the type of paper you have. Okay. There are a couple more things I'm going to show you here. I'm going to delete this once, and I'm going to put my paper back to an 8.5 by 11 portrait style. Well, let's leave it at legal, okay? But we're going to change the orientation. It would come in as portrait, and the margins I want to stay at narrow. Okay, so I'm going to insert my same picture, the red, rich red, okay. Now you can see it's smaller. It's 1.88 inches high by 7.5 inches wide. If I just click out of here, and if I click on layout, and if I change my orientation back to landscape, it's going to stay the same size. Come down and show you here, 1.88 by 7.5. So I'm just going to change this to 13 inch. 13 inches, because that's how long I want it. It'll change it, and then we'll come back and show you this size is 3.25. So even if you do it portrait style, you could go in and change it again, okay? Now, I'm going to change this to just a letter size and portrait. And I'm going to bring in, I'm not using Paint 3D this time, okay? I'm just going to show you how I can work with, make like a 6-inch pad, or a 6-inch page. You get your 6-inch pads from the store. So this is the 12-inch piece we've been working with. And just, okay, here it is up here. It comes in at 7.5 inches wide by 7.5 inches square. And it will resize the, I forget what I want to say. Let's see, maybe the word is in here. I know it is. The aspect ratio, okay, it does change that. You can go in, you can either go up here and just change the numbers, 6 by 6, and that's what you get. And you can make it smaller. You can just, on this one, you can just drag it, and your aspect ratio will continue to get smaller. The most I can get for an 8.5 inch piece of paper to print with narrow borders, because I don't have a borderless printer, is 7.75 inches wide. Okay, so I'm going to change this to 7.75. And I come up, let's see where I can find it though. I come down to text wrap, and I click on tight, so I can move this around. Okay, it will print though on a 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper to 7 3/4. Did I get this size right? 7 point, yeah. It'll print that. Okay. Back to the piece I was working real quick. I'm going to go back and change this again. Okay, so when I print this out, I will print multiple borders on a page, as many as I can get, and then I use a 12-inch square piece of scrap paper. It could be, some printed stuff that I don't care, and I just use the white side. And then I cut this down like 12 by 3 inches, and I start layering it on my scrapbook layout. So by the time you add your layers and stuff, you can get a lot of paper in there. Now you can also use this in Cricut Design Space, and that's a whole nother video I would have to do to share with you how you can do things in there too to make the most of it, like a printed paper. But I'm just going to give you a quick idea. I don't want to do that. I want to insert. I've got another printed paper more so you'll see better the gumdrop paper. Okay, so if you pull it just this way, it distorts the image. Okay, so if I resize this to 6 by 6, see your images get smaller. It's really nice to work with that way. I can print just what I want. I've not had the best luck printing double-sided paper. Excuse me. I apologize. I've not had the best luck with that. Now, if I don't need it, like say much over 5 inches wide and maybe 10 or 11 inches long, I'm okay. I'm still working on that, so I might have to contact the printer company and find out how to do it. But otherwise, this is how I work with digital paper, just kind of a brief overview. I really want to play around with it, but it's working well for me. If you have any questions, please do let me know, and I will do my best to help you. Otherwise, thanks for watching. Have a great day.